Hello, ladies and gentlemen, everything in between. Welcome back to Old Man Rambles. I came across a news article actually a couple weeks ago, but I've been reading it and thinking about it. It's talking about the American dream. Um, when when I was a kid, and my father was working, our family lived on a single income. I mean, I've mentioned previously how poor we were, but a lot of that was because my parents took in three extra kids. My older sisters, who were not blood relations, but they moved in with us when I was 4 or 5. Um, before I went to school, they were living with us. So my parents took in three extra kids. But my father did it. We had a roof over our heads, we had food on the table. My parents bought used cars. My father had medical insurance through his job, which in those days paid 100% regardless of where we went. There was no, you know, HMOs or anything, but my father had a good union job. He worked 40 hours a week. You know, he supported us on a single income. And up until the 1980s, over 67% of Americans were considered middle class and were supported by a single income family. Today, that is closer to 40%, and that's on a two income household. It takes twice as many hours to get less. And part of the reason I'm discussing this is that the article was talking about a survey that was done for both far left leaning and far right leaning voters, and you know, and while they may differ a lot in certain things, there is one common ground that they have. They're all very concerned about the economy and about the middle class, which has been lost. The American dream that we were sold as children no longer exists. It no longer exists for me. It stopped existing a long time ago. But one of the differences between those two sides is that the conservative voter has been handed a scapegoat. That scapegoat has changed over the years. In 1980s, Rush Limbaugh said it was the feminazis who were driving men out of the workforce and stealing their jobs. Blacks, women, feminism, queers, immigrants. The target shifts, but they're always given a scapegoat. They're always given these people. Everything that's gone wrong with your life, every dream that is unfulfilled, is the fault of these people. SJWs, wokeism, the list goes on. And the left is a bit more focused on why the American dream has disappeared. And since the 1980s, over $1 trillion has been shifted from the middle class from the bottom 90% to the top 1%. That money that that money didn't disappear. It was taken from our wallets. And conservative politicians have spent the last 40 or 50 years distracting people and trying to point the finger away, saying, don't look at where the money's really going. It's these people's fault. Trump's own Secretary of the Treasury blamed immigrants. He said, if we can deport these immigrants, these jobs will come back. And ICE deportations has actually eliminated over 660,000 jobs. Granted, most of those were things in like construction, food service, the hospitality industry, but they're still jobs. Um, and you might think, you know, but it's still, those jobs are still eliminated for U.S. citizens as well. Those jobs aren't being done. And if you think, good example, they've gotten rid of construction workers who were illegal immigrants. Well, what about the citizens who are, you know, licensed plumbers and electricians? If the house isn't being built, those plumbers and electricians don't have a job either. You know, this is a um, downstream effect where they're starting at the lower end, but it's eliminating higher positions up the stream because, or down the stream, I guess, because that windfall has not appeared. You know, people have gone looking for the receipts to look for the jobs that you know were going to help actual citizens, and they don't exist. That windfall has not happened. Um, but like I said, everyone, regardless of their political affiliations, just wants to live their lives. They want to get up and do their thing, have a home, have a family. Not everyone wants the same family, but they want to live, they want to exist and enjoy their life. Hell, for most of it, that's the only reason we get up and go to work in the morning. You know, I like having free time. I like being able to play video games and read books and listen to music and go grocery shopping with my wife and have dinner with my kids and my nieces and nephews and going out to breakfast with my in-laws. So I enjoyed simple things. And most people aren't that different from me. They might have different hobbies: hunting, fishing, going to sporting events, going to bars, playing poker with their buddies, what have you. But most people just want to exist, like I said, regardless. And this country has become so polarized and is bifurcated the right term? I don't know. But we've become so polarized on opposite sides of the fence, blaming each other. And I want to make a point that Democratic politicians are just as bought and sold as Republican politicians. The difference is they're not trying to make life worse for us. They're not deliberately trying to, they're bad too, but they're not creating the same scapegoats. I shouldn't have brought it up. It's too complicated. I've seen too many flaws in Democratic politicians, and I'll leave that alone. Shouldn't have brought it up. Let's stick to the American people and not the politicians who lead them. Aside from the fact that scapegoats have been created, and it's a constantly shifting goalpost, and the powers that be want to make sure that we're looking at the wrong target. They want to make sure we're looking at a completely different picture and not looking at the people who have been stealing money out of our wallets for decades. Good hunting.